What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? Why is this low? Check, check, check. All right. What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? No, we don't want this podcast pregame live. Why is that banner up here? Come on. Sloppy there, J Reels. What is going on here? Yes, well, with all that being said, not a great start to this live stream, but nonetheless, I see some comments and I want to give a big shout out when I get to that. Let me just do my little introductory greeting to each and every one of you. Of course, if this is your first time, welcome aboard. And if this is more than your first time, if it's your third, fifth, 10th, 20th, welcome back. I appreciate you guys and gals stopping by to listen to what it is I have to say about what goes on in the wonderful world of sports. And as always, a Wednesday live stream, as you see at the crawl at the bottom, every Wednesday, high noon here on YouTube, as well as you did see that graphic, the podcast pregame, which is every Monday and Thursday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, gives you a preview of what I'm about to discuss for the podcast, which the next one will be tomorrow. So you want to hop on board with that. And I got a bunch of other things that are going on, editing projects. Looking forward to live streaming some games, which I did last week. And I also owe you guys and gals a Mea Culpa, which I'll get to down the road. But first and foremost, before I even start, I have to put up these few graphics here. And I don't know if she's still here in the room. I hope she is. I see 3 people already right off the bat. But weeks ago, if you've watched this live stream, there is a woman who follows the live stream, the channel, etc. She comes from a land well across the ocean from where we sit at here, especially me in New York City, that lives in Serbia. And she goes by the name of Mirjana Popovic. And I hope I'm saying that right. Popovic, because I think of the famous NBA coach, which was Popovich. I get it. But Mirjana was one that I mentioned a few weeks ago. Health wasn't doing well. Her son, Vladislav, we've been in contact and informed me of what was going on. And just to see this comment pop up as I log in, and this is what she had to say. Guys, thank you for your support. I was speechless. I love you. Because we were concerned. We wanted to make sure that she was okay. And it didn't seem like it was going well. But thankfully, she had contacted me recently. We've been back and forth with comments, catching up on sports, a little bit about health, etc. And if she's in the room, I want to thank her for stopping by. And I want to thank her for her support. And yes, even Brent Tolman, I always mispronounce his name. I believe it's Tolman. And if Brent, if you're in the room, my apologies for butchering your name. But Brent has also inquired about her. A lot of the guys in the room were wondering, hey, is she okay? What's happening? So for her to put that there, and she also put this other comment, Brent, great sir, good man. Thank you to heaven. Yes, it means a lot. You're not alone. So yeah, this is what's beautiful about having these live streams and having this community that I'm continuing to build. And I understand that I'm a one-man operation. I not only produce, host, edit, write, everything has to do with the channel. Now, live stream is just turn on the camera, microphone, and just let it rip. But of course, I have to have some cadence. I have to have a good delivery. I have to know what it is that I'm talking about and all that. So I just can't sit here. I'd bore you to tears if I was just on the microphone and camera just going like this. Well, today, everybody, that's not going to work. So I have to be able to build that rapport with you guys and gals. And I feel like I have a faction. It's a small, I don't want to say army. I could say group. But group sounds like that could be anything. But I do have a small, maybe, how about following? I guess that sounds nicer. And I am indebted to you guys and girls and gals, I should say. So for Mirjana, welcome. I should say even welcome back because you've been on this live stream before. And I know she also had another comment here I want to post. Sports united us besides culture, music. That's the only language you have to speak, especially these days. Mirjana, I couldn't say that any better than you have. And again, we welcome you in open arms. Thank you so much for joining us, for coming back. And I see some comments. Miles, of course. Miles representing as always. Val from the West Coast. Miles from Brooklyn. And obviously, Miles has to put some hip-hop lyrics in there. As for Val, Giants lost yesterday. Didn't watch the whole game. Probably out of the playoffs. Yeah, that was not a good effort there against the Diamondbacks. You've lost 2 games in a row to them. You absolutely need to win today before going to LA to play the Dodgers. And the Dodgers have played awful. So that is one thing that, yes, Mirjana with the hearts there. And yes, there she is. And we love you back, Mirjana. Love you all. Love you back without question. And yes, here we go. Hide the women, hide the kids. The Mets are getting hot. That is, of course. Should I shout you out as to who you are, Rhoda? I actually like the name and the emoji there. And yes, the J Reels family, James D, he and I go way back. One of my day ones. So I appreciate everybody in here, and I love it. We got 6 representing. I thought I saw a 7 there, which was lucky number 7, but that's all right. Whether it's 6, whether it's 3, whether it's 2 or 1, it doesn't matter, because I am here for you guys and gals, and it's just a pleasure. And as always, this is just H2O, people. It's not vodka. It'd be nice if it was coconut water. Maybe one day I'll surprise you. But, of course, welcome aboard, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. And as we all know, each and every week, here it is, September 17th, 2025, on a Wednesday. Before you know it, it's going to be October 1st. Then it'll be Indigenous Peoples Day, or a.k.a. Columbus Day. Then it'll be Halloween. Then it's going to be Thanksgiving. Before you know it, you're going to start hearing the Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, about 1,000,000 times, pretty much from the time that the first football game or the NBA game on Thanksgiving Day, they're already going to put that on repeat and on blast. And then you're going to have Christmas. And then on top of that, or Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. And then on top of that, the ball will drop. It'll be 2026. And before you know it, we'll reconvene in a new year and have all of the pomp and circumstance, everything that transpires throughout the course of these last 3.5 months. And it'll go by in a blink. And before I even get to sharing your thoughts in the chat room, which, what the hell, I'll throw it up there now. Or for those who are watching the replay, leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to follow up. So that's a given. But to go back to the main graphic, 3.5 months, people. It'll be by in the blink of an eye. And I know for me and what it is that I'm doing, and it's a very important time for yours truly, considering I've been doing this now over 19 months with all of my blood, sweat, and tears. And I know I still need to even produce more stuff. And trust me, that does not go far from the wayside when it comes to yours truly. And all I want to do is just continue to put forth quality content. I'm in the middle of editing my Shea Stadium vlog. I'm about halfway through it because I'm putting all different types of inserts. I'm jazzing it up as best as I possibly can. And I'm hoping to get it done by the end of the week. And I will announce it on the YouTube channel. So you want to stay tuned for that. I think it's going to be excellent. So I hope, especially for the Met fan, but not even that, for the sports fan who has never seen Shea Stadium, never been there. And with all the events, I did my Yankee Stadium video 2 years ago. And I hate to say it in this fashion, but I kind of wish I could redo it. Because back then, when I was just starting out here on YouTube, I didn't know what rules and regulations I could use and do as far as video is concerned. And with the video that I've included so far in this Met video, I think it's going to be fantastic. I just hope everybody else feels the same way. But as I had mentioned, not only just for me, and I know I put the onus on me right now, but for each and every one of you, whatever it is that you're doing. And I'll even use Mirjana as a case in point. I understand we got to live in the moment. I understand we have to plan as best as possible for a future that is obviously unknown. But as long as you stay in the moment and as long as you're present, and I know every once in a while I get on my little soapbox and become preachy and things of that nature, and not that I'm trying to be a life coach or anything like that, but I do have to say that with time just marching along, and here we are, September 17th, and I kid around with the whole, before you know it's October 1st, and then Halloween and Thanksgiving, but yeah, that's how fast it goes. So you want to make sure that you do what you can to not only be kind, number one, you do what you can to enjoy your life in however way, shape, form, or fashion that you possibly can, whether you love to travel, whether you love to paint, whether you love to do what I do, in my case. And not only that, whatever it is, because we don't know when this is all going to end. And we want to try to preserve ourselves as best as possible and get to a point where we live a fulfilled and happy life and not just let time go by and exist. So, all right, enough of that. I get it. You're probably thinking, all right, what did J Reels Are you sure this is not vodka in there or rum or no? It's water. And I know I haven't eaten. I fast all the time, so maybe who knows? I'm hungry, delirious. But no, in all seriousness, yes, I just wanted to put that message out forth, especially with one of our just great followers that are here in the room, and I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for all you guys, as you know, and I profusely thank you over and over, which I'm sure it gets you sickening. So with that being said, let's put that to rest. Let's get back to some comments here as I see. So hang on a second. What did Miles say? Oh, no, don't do that. I don't know. What did I just do? You're here for us. I know, but it goes both ways. It's a two-way street. It's like you guys are, think about this. You guys are almost like my bosses, because I know that if I don't put forth any quality content or entertaining, and in the case when I do the live streams, it's engaging because we are going back and forth, then you're going to fire me. You'll just be like, I had enough of J-Reels. I'm going elsewhere. And think about it. So just because I may be the one that you guys come to, which, you know, again, I appreciate and love and admire, but if I don't come on here with when the lights are bright and to put forth some quality content, you guys will just be like, all right, I'm out of here. So, and wait a minute, Miles, McDonald's, you got to do better than that. I can't wait for the Yankees' last day in 2025. Yes, I'm going to get to that. Hopefully, might as well leave the tree up all year. Seriously, if you've had a Christmas tree that's been up since last year, you only have a little over 2 months right before Thanksgiving, before you start to trim it, and you'll have your hot cocoa or whatever it is that you drink, and the rest is history. Remember when me and you and Kalani went to Shea to catch our Metsies? Oh, yeah, that was that the Mike Piazza Jersey Day? I think that was in 2001. Who did they play that day? Oh, my God, I should remember this. I think it was 2001. I think we sat in the loge in the blues or the green seats. And I think it was Mike Piazza Jersey. They were giving away a jersey. If that was it, I believe that's the case. Sorry, Miles, if that's because of me. No, that's fine. And Miles, you got to give all the respect to Marjana, as you know, because, again, she's back on the mend and in full presence here. So I am grateful for her in that. Jay, you're always grumpy and hungry. Am I grumpy? I got to think about that for a second. Am I grumpy? I could be grumpy when it comes to sports, when my teams aren't doing well, or something in sports that has me a little miffed. That's when I'm grumpy. Hungry? Yeah, I fast every day. I usually don't eat anything until 12 noon Eastern. And if I do eat something prior to, it's either going to be fruit or a smoothie. And I haven't had anything. So that's it. I know I'm looking a little scruffy too. I need to shave the head. And listen, I know I'm not like a full beard type of guy, but yeah, I need to shave. So no, absolutely. You know that, Miles. I understand. One of the things that you bring to these live streams is that you bring your own quirkiness, you bring your superhero complex. One day you're Batman, the next day you're Superman, the next day you're there. And hey, that's a part of it. I know you talk about McDonald's. I don't do McDonald's. And listen, you're 17. One day you're 17, the next day you're 37. I don't know from one day to the next. Well, how old you are, but anyway, we have a lot of fun with that. You're not grumpy, honest, and direct. That's it. That's what I try to be. And I'm not going to shout you out, Rhoda, as to who you are. But yes, I always want to be transparent. Certainly be me. I'm not trying to be anyone that I'm not. And I can't believe I've started the live stream this way. But you know what? Hey, it's fun. It's a little bit different. It's not me just being mechanical and talking sports and getting your opinions and sharing what you have. No, I don't want. I want to be just organic, natural. When it all comes up, it's all off the top of my head, and it's on the fly. So, yes, 14 next month. That's right. But sometimes you say that you were 17, and then other times you say 37. And then, yes, you did say in the live on Monday that you were 13. You're going to be 14 next month. So, and then Yuki Matsui, Metropolitan John. Yeah. Oh, that's a new one. Yuki Matsui. Yes, that's who Rhoda is, by the way. He is the everyday Mets and also baseball purist, as you may know him as. And Metropolitan Jonathan, he had to come out with that. But Yuki Matsui, that's a new one. That I don't recall. So that I'd have to obviously usher into the chat. And then the Great J Memories Piazza Jersey giveaway. Yes. Yeah, and it was 2001, I believe. And it was a Saturday. It was a cloudy day. I believe the Mets lost too. I got to look that up. I know it's going to take too much time right now, but maybe toward the back end of this, a series. When was that Piazza jersey giveaway? Let me see. You know what? I'm going to have some fun here, guys. I know this is a little bit off the beaten path. Piazza jersey giveaway 2001. There's a bit off the beaten path. I know you're probably thinking, come on, J Reels, I want to get to the baseball or NFL, or I'm not talking tush push. I mean, you know how I feel about that. I can't stand it. And to me, it is just a waste of time. So it's one of those things. Piazza jersey mishap. No, that's not it. Yeah, I'm seeing eBay. No, I'm not seeing that. July 15, 2001. Was that against the Blue Jays? No, that was the day I actually moved that day. I moved from my old apartment to my new apartment that day. That was on a Saturday. No. That was on a Sunday, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, maybe it was a Saturday. Oh, one of those days. Here we go. My Piazza jersey giveaway at Shea, 2001. No, and they're bringing up the 9/11 jersey. All right, I'm going to spend 15 more seconds on trying to find this thing. I guess I have to pull up an old schedule and figure it out. I want to say maybe it was the Phillies or the Giants. I don't know. All right, but anyway, enough of that. Let's move it along here. Miles, I don't want to shoot you, but I can shout you out. When's your birthday again? Wait, don't tell me. Was it the 11th October? I want to say the 11th. And let's see. Giants, hope they win today. Well, you know what? I hope they win too, because the Diamondbacks now, with the Giants 3-back and the Diamondbacks are a game and a half, now the Mets have to win, of course. I don't want to see the Diamondbacks get any closer, because watch them get on this magic carpet ride. October 7th. I won't forget that day for two reasons. One, 2 years ago on October 7th, I went to Paris. It was on a Saturday. Unfortunately, that was the start of the Israeli-Palestinian war, unfortunately. But it's also 2 days before my anniversary. So I can't forget that. So, Miles, I'll shout you out October 7th. When does that fall on? Let me see. Now I got to start looking at calendars. Well, today's the 17th. So 2 weeks from today is the 1st. So the 7th would be a Tuesday. I'll shout you out the Wednesday. If you come on Wednesday, October the 8th, I'll definitely shout you out then. And that will be the live stream. What's that? 3 weeks from today, I guess? 3 weeks. And I respect the question asking how old. Well, Miles, if you had to take a guess, I hate to play this game, but again, this is how this live stream has started. 18 minutes, I haven't brought up anything about sports other than a tush push. Take a guess. I thought I mentioned that on here several times, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, all right. I'll get back to your comments. Let's get this show on the tracks here, because what I want to start off with, and let's get right to it. We're down to the final dozen days of the baseball season. This season started on March 27th. Another reason why you have to enjoy your life. Another reason why you have to live in the moment and be present. I remember the baseball season almost started like it was 2 weeks ago. And here it is. Now we're less than 2 weeks from the conclusion. And what you have here so far over this final 12 days, that's including today, I might add. And with these pennant races, I know in the National League right now, the Mets have a little bit of some breathing room. It's not much. It's the slimmest of margins. But when I say that is because after that win on Sunday, which they desperately needed to snap an 8-game losing streak, and for them to win that game and have the day off Monday and then just come out flying out of the gate last night against the Padre team is trying to catch the Cubs, which they won't, for the fourth and first wild card, fourth overall in the National League, which right now the Cubs have the home field. And for the Mets to cruise to a rocking chair 8-3 victory, I can only hope that will continue tonight, as they'll, of course, have game 2 of their series against the Padres. And although I've always said I've remained optimistic, although Saturday, if you listen to the podcast on Monday, after that loss on Saturday, I said they're probably going to blow this. They're at a point where they've lost 8 in a row. All these teams have now almost caught up to them. The Giants, that Saturday when they lost that game, They were in a flat-footed tie in the loss column with the Giants, but thankfully the Dodgers took care of business. Sorry, Val. The Dodgers took care of business Saturday night, and now they still have 1.5 over the Diamondbacks and 3 games over the Reds and Giants. So I almost have to root for the Giants tonight because even if they do win and let's say the Mets lose, the Diamondbacks will stay where they're at, even though the Giants will gain a game. But I don't want the Diamondbacks to get any closer. So although the National League wild card right now, I'm not going to say it's iffy just yet, but let's just say that the ground, although it may not be solid, the foundation for the Mets to make it into the postseason, despite them controlling their own destiny, but at least for a day, maybe even 2 days, as you get to the weekend, they could at least have a bit of a sigh, a bit of a breather. Not much, because there's still a lot of work to be done in order for them to clinch that final wild card spot, because they're not going to catch the Padres. The Padres, I think, are now 4.5 in front of the Mets right now. But you have that going on in the National League wild card. As far as the divisions go, when you have the NL East, that's a wrap. And I'll stick with the National League first before I get to the American League. The NL Central, we all know that's been over and done with. And the Dodgers, who can't get out of their own way, they've lost to the Phillies these last 2 nights. And think about this. Shohei Ohtani throws 5 no-hit innings. And you would think that that would be a catalyst for the Dodgers to win. And they've been scuffling. And I'll say this right now, and I understand this could be a little bit dangerous, but I know James is a big Met fan, and he may attest. I'd rather see the Dodgers in the wild card round than the Padres. And people can say, well, you beat the Padres last night. But remember, the Padres swept us in San Diego, and that's what the series would be if the Padres won outright the National League West. Now, remember, the Dodgers do have a tiebreaker over the Padres because of the season series. So they would have to be 1 game ahead of them. They can't be in a flat-footed tie with the Dodgers if the season ended to where they both have the same record. But I'd rather see the Dodgers. Their bullpen right now is a dumpster fire. Their offense has been hit or miss, and their rotation from one day to the next, you don't even know who's starting. And I understand that the Dodger rotation you probably trust a little bit more, but will it include Shohei Ohtani? Which is fascinating because he pitched those 5 no-hit innings. Is it a situation where you're going to start him in a game 1 or game 2? Or maybe you're going to put him on ice for a decisive game 3 if that's going to be the case? Because you would think game 1 would probably go to, listen, if I'm Dave Roberts, I guess you'd have to go Yamamoto in game 1 and either Blake Snell or Tyler Glasnow game 2. And then game 3, do you throw in either Snell or Glasnow, or dare I even say Shohei Ohtani? Because you're not going to pitch Ohtani out of the bullpen. I'd be surprised. He's stretched out as a starter. You're not going to fluctuate to where, oh, we're going to stretch him out now, and then, oh, no, all of a sudden we're going to pull the reins to where he's going to be a guy that's just going to come out of the bullpen. No, I don't think that's going to happen. But for the Dodgers, I'd rather see them by far than the Padres, because I can tell you this. If Yu Darvish is starting game 1, the Mets are going to be in an 0-1 hole. That's it. I mean, case closed. And the Mets aren't going to see Darvish here in the next 2 days. I believe he pitches Friday in the next series. So to have the Padres in an opening round out in San Diego, I do not want to see that. I don't know. Maybe James or any other baseball fan or Met fan begs to differ, but I do not, or certainly will not, wish that on my team if the Mets do qualify for that final wild card spot. So that's number 1. And we already went through the wild card. You already know, breaking it down, etc. I think the Mets will survive. They have to take care of business at home because I do not trust them on the road. I don't. I understand October, that could be a different story. But with the way this regular season has gone, and they're much better at home. Right now, the first 4 games that they've had in this 9-game homestand, they're 2-2, and they've won these last 2 games. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, just win these series. Yes, it's nice to go win 4, 5, 6 in a row at this juncture to kind of separate yourselves from the pack and put yourselves in a position next week to clinch on the road. But again, if they win one of the next 2, great. If they somehow, some way win the next 2 and then win 2 out of 3 over the weekend against the lowly Nationals, fantastic. But they go to Chicago next week to play the Cubs, and then they go to Miami to close out the season. And I understand Miami, although they've been scrappy, but we've seen Miami be a thorn in the Mets' side here just a couple of weekends ago when they won 3 out of 4. And that was after the Mets swept the Phillies. Now you can say, oh, maybe there was a letdown, whatever. Oh, maybe, but I mean, come on. All right, a letdown would be to split against the Marlins, not lose 3 out of 4. And in one of those starts, Jonah Tong had his major league debut and had a 12-0 lead after the first 2 innings. So it's not an automatic that the Mets are going to go to Wrigley, where I get it. The Cubs will probably have everything wrapped up as far as that first wild card, and they'll probably get themselves set for the wild card round the following week. And the Marlins are playing out the string, and they're going to play spoiler. Heaven forbid that the Mets are a game, half game, 2 games ahead of the second place team, or really the first place team that is behind them in the hunt for the final wild card spot. Because, yeah, as a Met fan, I'm going to be on pins and needles. I mean, that's all there is to it. And, yes, every year is different. And you can't think back of what happened 10, 15, 20 years ago as opposed to today. You got to be in the moment, of course. I get it. And we could even go back to last year when the Mets won that crazy game in Atlanta in order for them to get into the postseason. Understood. But it's a new year. And I have the scars all over my body to show how this team has disappointed me year in and year out, especially down the stretch when these games, literally money on the line, when they truly matter, they somehow, some way spit the bit. So that's what you got in the National League. And as far as the American League goes, pretty much what you have is that race in the AL West. Seattle, Houston, and Seattle's on fire. They've won 10 in a row. They won in Kansas City last night. Cal Raleigh, who hit his 55th and 56th home runs, that tied Ken Griffey Jr. for the most in Mariner history for a single season. He actually surpassed Mickey Mantle for the most home runs by a switch hitter in the regular season, in one season. And for Raleigh, I'd almost have to think that Raleigh is going to be your AL MVP this year. Because look at what Seattle's done here over this stretch. And Judge, who, if he won the MVP, I wouldn't be surprised, or I certainly wouldn't be outraged if he did over Raleigh. I'm sure the Mariner fan and the people of the Pacific Northwest would certainly think otherwise. But Raleigh is certainly deserving of winning this MVP award, and he could end up, maybe when it's all said and done, hitting 60 home runs. And it would almost be borderline criminal if he wasn't the MVP, especially if the Mariners win the AL West. But for Seattle, they got to continue this because they're a team that I certainly wouldn't trust once you get to October, even if they do win this division. And right now, as it stands, the Astros, who had beaten the Rangers, and it looks like the Texas Rangers slowly but surely are starting to drift out to sea as far as their playoff chances go. And with the Astros and Mariners literally neck and neck, a half game behind and one in the loss that the Astros are, and they're going to gain that half game back considering that the Astros played Monday, Tuesday. They'll conclude their series against the Rangers today, day off tomorrow, and then Seattle, who will play Kansas City tonight and tomorrow, and then who will they play over the weekend? Seattle and Houston, that is. They'll play each other in Houston, which could be for the division. So you have a lot of intrigue there, not only in that race for the division, but also for the wild card, because if the Rangers, let's say if the Astros sweep them, then you can say goodbye to Texas in my eyes for 2025. Now, the Rangers, I understand they're 3.5 back in the wild card as constituted, but at the same time, they're actually 4.5 back in the division. So this season right now hinges on that game today in Houston, and Jacob deGrom is actually going to pitch. So let's see how deGrom does as he tries to save their season. Yes, and not only pray for me, guys. Could you guys stop, please? Not only do I have Kismet, the dog that, of course, is part of my household, but I'm also dog sitting a Yorkie named Rufio. And whatever Rufio does, that, of course, Kismet has to follow. So pray for even more tomorrow when I'm recording the podcast. It's a live stream. They bark. I can kind of say quiet, whatever. But if I'm recording tomorrow, which I will, and I got to wait for them to bark, or if somebody's outside, whether it's Amazon or UPS or a neighbor, right away they're just going to run to the door and bark and upset what it is I'm trying to do. Lord help me. So I digress. But that's what you have there with the AL West and the wild card there, because we all know it's Yankees. They have now a 2-0 loss, a game and a half behind the Astros, or ahead of the Astros, excuse me, where the Red Sox now have fallen to the 6th seed. And no matter how you slice it, I think Red Sox Yankees would be even juicier. But you could have Houston Yankees in the first round, which I think obviously would be very intriguing considering their playoff history dating back to 2015. So it would almost come full circle when the Astros beat the Yankees in that one-game wild card playoff where the Yankees didn't even hit and they lost 4-0 behind Dallas Keuchel. And then 10 years later, they're playing a wild card round, albeit a best of 3. I think that'd be interesting where the Red Sox would have to go to Seattle in the opening of the wild card round. So a lot of baseball to be played. We'll have to wait and see. And I understand the Guardians are 2.5 back, 2 in the loss. Let's see what they do here down the stretch. I don't know if the Guardians are going to make enough hay. Stranger things have happened, I understand. But I would think what we see is what we're going to get when we get to this time 2 weeks from now. And as far as your division races, AL Central, we all know it's over with the Detroit Tigers leading the way there. And then on top of that, with the AL East, the Blue Jays have a 5-game lead, and technically it's 6 games because they have the tiebreaker over the Yankees. So the Yankees would have to really – Rufio, could you stop, please? They have the extra advantage of having the season series won. So the Yankees would have to literally overtake them, similar to what the Padres would have to do to the Dodgers if they ended even at game 162. So that is your baseball. I understand during the Labor Day weekend, or really Labor Day Monday, 2 weeks ago, this past Monday, I said it was going to be a sleepy September. Well, the Mets have made it interesting, as you know, and even the Mariners have made it interesting too. So I would think things will be kind of stabilized here from now to the end of the season, although the Mets, again, they could upset that apple cart, as you know. But I would think where we're going to go here is where these standings, although you may have to flip-flop there, whether it's Astros or Red Sox getting that 5th spot, and who knows what's going to happen with Dodgers-Padres, but I would think that this is what we're going to see here throughout the remainder of this baseball season. If anything else pops up, obviously I'll be on top of it, you know. Just go to the channel on YouTube. I'll post shorts. I know I haven't really posted up a lot of shorts, especially with the baseball, because there hasn't really been anything exciting. And I don't want to bore you with Mets stuff because I know I posted a lot about the Mets over the last few weeks. I need to mix it up. And, of course, I want to mix it up. But as long as you stay tuned to that dial there here on the YouTube channel, J-Reels, you know I'll be all over it. So that's what you have with the baseball. Let me get to some comments here as I pull that up. Let's see what we got. Miles, you got to be kidding. Miles thinks I'm 65. Miles, how about you just flip that? And maybe you're saying that to be nice. I don't know. Or maybe you're saying that because you're Miles. Because sometimes you can come out of left field with certain things. No, I am 56. I am Lawrence Taylor, Brian McRae, who was a Met back in the 90s, who wore that number 56. Is there an NBA player 56? There's no NBA player known 56. Hey, listen, the most famous 56 is Lawrence Taylor. I mean, that's all there is to it. Don Larson's perfect game was in 1956. I don't know. I'm running out of numbers there with that. Val, I didn't watch the whole Giant game yesterday since I was too happy that they were winning, but they lost. Oh, wait, so they were winning in the game, and then did you go to sleep, and then you woke up this morning and you found out they lost? Was that what happened? Rhoda, huge failure for the Mets at 25. Listen, if they don't make the postseason, and we talked about this a little bit last week, now there has to be a shakeup in store. I don't know if they'd fire Mendoza. I know he would be on a short lease next year if they do not make the playoffs this year. David Stearns, could he get fired? It's possible. The guy from Flushing, the Wonder Boy, I don't know how much wonder he's been. But, oh, excuse me. How I look at it is that I'm not going to worry about that until it actually happens. And I have said, I think last week, that if the Mets blow it, let's say in the final day of the season, there will be a live stream. And I don't even know. I hope it doesn't come to that. I really, truly hope it doesn't come to the final day and they blow it, just like they did in 07 and 08. Jay Reels, can you play this song, please? What song is that? It's okay, Dodgers to beat the Giants a lot this season. Yes, they have. 12:30. Is that in that game's in Arizona? Valwave and High. That game is in Arizona. Let me see. Let me pull up the banner. Diamondbacks. Just go to the schedule. The 3:40 local time here in New York, so I guess it'll be 12:40 there in Arizona. Justin Verlander pitching today. So, yeah, think about it. You're looking at maybe San Francisco and Texas playing for their seasons. 2 ex-Mets. Think about that for a second. All right, so that's what they got with the baseball. Let me pull up the graphic here. I'll move it along. Now, as far as the NFL goes, to me, the highlight game of the weekend, and I haven't perused it. As a matter of fact, let me look through it right now. I'm working backwards here, which is dangerous. But I think the biggest game of the weekend is Rams and Eagles. And sadly, that is a 1 o'clock game. It is not the 425 game, the America's game. It's not the NBC night game. That is Kansas City and the Giants. So you may see Taylor Swift in the box. I remember, was it last year? No, it was 2 years ago when Kansas City played the Jets, and it was week 4, and you saw Taylor Swift with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. I got on Ryan Reynolds' case. I understand he's married to Blake Lively, but I got on this case to the point of, what the hell does he know about football? And maybe he does. I think he owns part of a soccer team somewhere overseas. But I just laugh, and then people getting on my case is like, oh, well, the guys can't go and enjoy a football game. I said, no, it's not. He can't enjoy a football game. Of course he can, and I get it. He's in the luxury box because of Blake Lively, his wife, and the connection that she has with Taylor Swift. And I can't believe I'm actually talking about this. But, yeah, I would like to sit with Ryan Reynolds and chop it up with NFL football and see what he knows about the sport. And who knows? They'll probably tune me out. Who's this guy talking to me? Whatever. In his usual comedic self. But, yeah, that's like me going to a Taylor Swift concert and I'm in a luxury suite. And people are going to say, what the hell does Jay Reels know about Taylor Swift? Besides her being the biggest star in the world and knowing a handful of her songs, absolutely nothing. And that she's engaged to Travis Kelce. That's it. I couldn't recite any of her lyrics, maybe 1 or 2 of these songs. But, yeah, to me, and this is no knock, but none of her music is on my rotation on my phone or wherever it is that I stream music. That's it. So, yeah, I'm not going to fake the funk. If I'm in the box, you'll probably see me eating or drinking something. I'm not going to be dancing to her tunes. I'm not going to be singing along. I'm not going to be doing any of that. If anything, I want to be all the way in the back of that luxury suite where you can't even see me. And I'll have the wife sit up front, and she's not a big Taylor Swift fan, but you get. So that's what you have with that. But the schedule, it's unfortunately not a good one. Miami at Buffalo is your game tomorrow night, and Buffalo, they're going to put their feet up after this game because they're going to cruise to an AFC East championship. You might as well just give it to them now. You have Green Bay at Cleveland, Indianapolis at Tennessee, Cincinnati at Minnesota. Would have been a decent game, but you do not have the starting quarterbacks there. J.J. McCarthy out 2 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain, and Joe Burrow has turf toe. He's out for 3 months as he's getting surgery. Pittsburgh at New England, Jets at Tampa, Vegas at Washington, Atlanta at Carolina, Houston at Jacksonville, Denver at L.A., the Chargers. Not a bad game. New Orleans at Seattle, Dallas at Chicago, Arizona at San Francisco. All right, I'll give you that, but am I going to get worked up on that game? I mean, Arizona beat, who did they beat the other day? They beat Carolina, and who did they play in their opener? Arizona in their opener. I think they lost their opening game. Didn't they lose their opener? Jeez, I got to think about that. I think Arizona's on the road. Oh, there it goes. The bell to the elevator rings, so right away, that's it. Can we be quiet, guys, please? Unless you're going to talk sport. No bark. Pray for me, people. Who the hell did Arizona play in week 1? Drawing blanks. Now I got to go research this damn thing. Did they win their game? Oh, yeah, at New Orleans. So, yeah, I'm sorry. That game against the San Francisco 49ers, not bad because both teams are 2-0, but is it a 5-star, even a 4-star matchup? It is not. Your Monday night game is excellent. Detroit at Baltimore. So you have two teams that obviously could be, quite possibly, meeting a Super Bowl. Maybe unlikely, but that is your Monday night game, which is a good one. But other than that, the schedule this weekend is putrid. Very bad. And the game tomorrow night, I won't even bother watching because the Dolphins are going to go 0-3. Mike McDaniel, the coach, is going to be on the plank because it's just a matter of time before he gets pushed off, and they're going to have to hire a new coach. But the NFL right now, as we all know, it's bulletproof. Everybody loves it. Everybody's on top of it. And, of course, I am too, and I love it. But it's just, I mean, this past weekend was an indication of why the NFL, as great as it is, they just continue to jam their product down your throat. Because you have the Thursday night game, as you know. Then you have the games all throughout Sunday, including the Sunday night game. And then they don't give you one. They give you 2 Monday night games to where the second game is at 10 o'clock. I understand it's Chargers at Vegas to play the Raiders. They're not playing that game at 8 o'clock, so they got to appease the West Coast folk. And what happens? I didn't watch one snap of it. I'm in bed. Who the hell's going to stay up till 1 in the morning and watch a game that's not my team? And I understand it's Chargers, Raiders. They both got off to one of those starts, but not this guy. As it was, should I even bring this up? How much of a disgrace for boxing to have that Canelo Alvarez-Terence Crawford fight start at exactly, once that bell went off and the fighters met at the middle of the ring, 12:58 a.m. I mean, are we kidding? They should have started that fight no later than midnight. I don't want to hit 12:05 or 12:15. Oh, they had to bring out all the bands, the mariachi bands, and Tool came out. And the 20-minute walk from the locker room to the ring. Oh, my God. I mean, it's too much. I'm not here for that. Not. And I'm not trying to say they got to speed it up and make it to where they got to run from the locker room into the ring. And no, I get that. But do we need the performances before the start? And I get it. It's usually with music and whatever it may be. Remember Prince Nassim Mohammed, who took literally 3 hours to get into the ring? That whole shtick. And not to say it was anything close to that, but and that's why boxing is literally a dying sport. So I digress to go away to talk boxing for a couple of seconds. So that's what I got with the NFL. Let's see what we got with the comments. Oh, I see some funny ones here too. All right, so Miles, yep, 56. It's called renounce. Yeah, renounce and announce the age. No, that's a good one. Mets finally made a smart pitching move. Yes. No, it did. Agreed. I know Holmes is past his pitching innings limit, and who knows? I know we talked about the rotation if the playoffs started tomorrow, where you'd have to put Dave Peterson, Nolan McLean, and I would say Clay Holmes, but if you're going to do that Holmes-Mania combo for the postseason, I'm all for it. I'm here for it. You can't put Jonah Tong. You can't even put Brandon Sproat, who actually pitched very well the other day against the Rangers. And looking forward to his next start, which will be his third. And I get it, McLean, he's earned that second spot. I understand he's only pitched 6 major league outings, but the Mets need length. They need a guy that is crafty. And he is, by far, from what you've seen so far, he's a pitcher. He's not a thrower. He's a pitcher. So, James, don't mess with Deadpool. I know he may come out with his burned costume and a rusty sword And I like the first Deadpool. I thought he was great in that. Deadpool Wolverine, that one that came out last year, you can spare me that. And the second Deadpool was okay. The first one I thought was very good. And this light is blinding me here for some reason today. I don't know why. I think I need to put on sunglasses. I know I could change the temperature. I don't know if that's to make it cooler. Maybe that. How's that? I know I look a little more brown. Yeah, for whatever reason, it's bothering me today. And I see figure 8, the infinity sign. 8 people in the room. I appreciate you guys. Wow, that's good job by you guys and girls. I commend you for it and thank you. Now, Miles says Deadpool. Chiefs, Giants. If G-Man can pull off the upset, I would not be surprised. Now, the defense has to show up, but again, this isn't a high-octane Chief offense, as we know. So, you know what? There could be an upset special brewing. Merjana, Detroit. Yes, Detroit, as far as what? Super Bowl? Good team. Detroit on Monday night. Listen, they're playing Baltimore. I can't stand the Ravens, so you know I'm rooting hard for them. And if you remember, 2 years ago, Detroit, I believe it was week 6 or 7, went into Baltimore and they literally got smoked. They lost 38-6. So hopefully they have that in the back of their minds and go in there and just beat the brakes off the Ravens, who have averaged, by the way, 40.5 points per game over the first 2 games of the season. All right. Miles, you're gooning? Using an old hockey term there. I was watching the game just laying on my couch and found out yesterday they lost. Oh, is that how you found out about that, Val? Don't believe in the pitching? Yeah, and then Verlander wins and sometimes we lose. Yeah. I mean, Verlander is, what is he, 41 years old? Play it, please. Miles, which one do you want me to play? Oh, look who's here. Oh, wow, this is the first. Skinny Prince I have. Yeah, and his show. Oh, I know. Yeah, he was a bit of a thing. You're right, Marjana. And yeah, he took forever to get in the ring. I have an appearance for the first time, and I have to introduce him, my father-in-law. Son, I think the Mets are done for this year. How do I say this? All right, Dad, why do you feel that way? I need to know. Why do you feel that the Mets are done? Now, of course, listen, I'm an objective Met fan, as you well know. And even though I feel like they're in good shape and I'm being optimistic that they're going to make it, but would I be shocked if they don't make the postseason? Oh, please. I would. I'm jaded and cynical. For me to think that I would be, yes, I'd be disappointed if they don't make the play, and I'd be pissed off. But would I be shocked or surprised? I would not. I would not. I understand it's a different team, different time, but the Mets had a 7-game lead for a division in 2007 with 17 games left. Why would I be shocked? And they blew that. Now, my thing is if the Mets have a 3-game lead with 3 to play and they lose out, let's say, to the Reds, because the Reds have the tiebreak over the Mets, then I'd be, forget it. I'd be despondent. I'd be sick. But my father-in-law thinks that they're done for the year. All right. No, hey, he's entitled to feel that way. You like the news about Tom Brady coming out of retirement? No, that's not true. Is that? No. I got to go check this. Well, Justin Fields is out because of and trust me, I got some apologies I got to get to you guys later on, which I'm sure whether you paid attention or not, I'm going to share my thoughts in regards to my screw up on the podcast 2 days ago. Now, Liberty Stewart to put knee to test in game 2. Yes, the WNBA playoffs where they won game 1 against Phoenix and they'll play game 2 tonight and she's going to push her. Yeah, she's out. They're not going to repeat. I'll say that. And that's not going on a limb by any means. But, yeah, I don't see anything here there, baseball purist. He's coming out of retirement. What do you mean? Please advise. Yes, Rajana says the same thing. How's he coming out of retirement? And I know he was in the booth the other night, which caused an uproar. Monday night game, we all know he's part owner there of the Raiders, and he had a headset on looking like a coordinator of some sort. And I don't know if he was trying to step on anybody's toes. Not to say he was doing it purposely, but yeah, he shouldn't be there. If he's going to be in a luxury suite, let him be in the owner's suite, not with the coordinators, as that's what it looked like there the other day. So, yeah, I'm not too keen on that. Again, if he's in the building and in a luxury suite with Mark Davis, all right, fine, cool. But no, don't be in a room where you're trying to, and I'm not trying to say this, and I'm not even saying this allegedly, but you can't be in that room where you're overseeing everything, and obviously you have the power and the influence, you're Tom Brady, to just kind of say, hey, we don't want that play called. Or, I don't like that. No. He cannot do that. I understand who am I to say, but that goes for anybody, for that matter, who's just going to bogart the press area or the team's suite where all the coordinators are housed. That's a bad optic, not looking good. And you could only hope he was ordering pizzas for his crew downstairs or something, because, yeah, that certainly wasn't cool. And let's see. Yeah, renounce. Well, that's Rhea. I know you misspelled that there, Miles. Bengals high loss of QB, yeah. And they signed a couple of quarterbacks, including Mike White, the former Jet quarterback, to their practice squad, because now they have Jake Browning as the starter here over the next, you would think, 12 weeks or so. Yes. He's the GOAT for me, but age. Didn't he just turn 47? I think he was born in 78. I think he was born in 78. So, yes. Hey, Marjana, yeah, he's the GOAT. Can't argue that. I know that some people would think Joe Montana because he's been perfect in Super Bowls, but he's only won 4, where we all know Brady's won 7. So, and then James, plus Brady's part over the Eagles. He's not giving up. No, definitely not. And who knows how much he's invested. I'm sure he's probably put X amount of money, but the return on that, please, you're on an NFL team. It's in the billions. Do I even need to say any more? Uh-oh, here we go. They have to win a wild card and then get in front of San Diego. Well, only if they win a division, Dad, because if the Dodgers and Padres are tied at the end of the year, the Dodgers win the tiebreaker because of the season series advantage that they have. So let's just say, for argument's sake, I'm just throwing numbers out for the hell of it. If the Dodgers are 97-65, and they may have more than 65 losses, but for this discussion, if they're 97-65, the Padres have to be 98-64 in order for them to win the division, and then the Mets have to fly out to San Diego to play them. Now, as it is, they're going to have to fly to California anyway, because they're not getting the 5th seed, and they're either going to play LA, more likely, than San Diego, less likely. So, yeah, how I look at it is that if the Dodgers, which we would think will win the division, then they're going to go to LA, because San Diego will be down the road if they do get past their first round opponent, which would be the team that they faced in the NLCS last year, that being the Dodgers, of course. And let's see. James, yeah, that I did covered that one, so my apologies there. James, Merjana, Tom can do what he want, but now he's too old. Yeah, to play quarterback now, oh, no. First of all, he's not in game shape. He may be in life shape, but is he in game shape? No. And is he willing to take hits as well? And coming out of retirement, where is he going to play? He's not going to play for the Raiders. I understand Geno Smith was terrible, but no, that ain't happening. So I agree with you, Marjana. Too old. That should not take place. Miles, look up the word GAT. Yeah, I know what GAT is. And then he's going to say, well, hang on there, Marjana. You should do live stream of Legos. Now, if I do a live stream of Legos there, Miles, all I'm going to do is just stack, and that's it. And it's going to be boring. What I'm going to talk about, how Legos are made, and how anytime you step on one, it feels like you're stepping on some sort of like sea urchin or a fish that has spikes. So, all right, Marjana, Montana, years and years. Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, Joe Montana, a lot of people still there's a fraction of fans that think that he's the greatest quarterback of all time because on a franchise that in the 80s had won nothing but Super Bowls, and even though he has 4 to Brady's 7, but what? Just because Brady has 3 more Super Bowls means that Joe Montana is a lesser quarterback? I don't think so. It's just that Brady's had more opportunities and actually better teams, which is crazy because the Niner teams actually had all-time iconic teams as well. So, yeah, you have a situation. I'm just watching the dogs here. Oh, there's a problem. Yep, it's a problem. Something's happening over there. Yep, something's happening. So when it comes to, I see 2 familiar faces in the room. So when it comes to Legos, Miles, no, I'm not going to do that. And Montana, what I'm going to say is that he's in the handful, maybe top 3. You want to say John Unitas, he, and Brady? Absolutely. Bio, what's up, my man? 11 people. I got double digits in the room. Thank you, guys and gals. Yeah, the Dodger bullpen, ooh, it's a gas can. And all I have to say to that is you better hope they get it out of their system now because come October, now I'm sure they'll get away with it for a round or 2, but yeah, once you get into the LCS and World Series, who knows? But stranger things have happened. As you've seen, Bio, you know as good as anyone. Miles, I am too. All right. Brent, good afternoon. Greetings from the Great White North. Hopefully not for a while. Yes, because I'm sure the snow is going to be coming. Hopefully it takes its sweet time. I feel you there on that, Brent. Brent, welcome back again, as always. Tom Brady's playing the flag football in Dubai with other NFL. I saw that. I'm sure he's getting paid to do that. I'm sure the rich people in that region have said, Tom, would you mind playing flag football? And of course, Brady is going to have to say at what cost, because God forbid he gets hurt. And I'm sure they're going to pay him, what, $50 million? They have money to burn, so you already know. All right. This is low-key boring too. What is low-key boring? You're going to have to please elaborate. If you say no one more time, say no to what? The song? I'm going to get a K9? All right. I already got 2 here. So you know what? It's 2 against 1. You dare me to? Double dare? What do you want to play? Or what am I going to play? No, I'm going to get copyrighted here. And Miles, I'm not playing songs that I'm not feeling. If you're going to give me a song that I'm going to, all right. But even then, I don't want to get booted here by the internet police. All right. College football real quick. Schedule. Last week was interesting, and that's partly is going to lead to my mea culpa after this. But when you got the college football schedule, I know next week, not this coming week, though, next week is going to be fantastic. I think you have, if I'm not mistaken, Alabama, Georgia. But this week, Michigan, Nebraska is going to be good. That's to my guy Cole. I don't know if you're in the room. I know he usually chimes in, but shout out to Cole out in Michigan. No, this schedule is, it is not good. Who's your Saturday night game? Fox, Arizona State, Baylor? Ugh. Oh, Illinois, Indiana. Listen, Indiana, come on. And Illinois, Florida, Miami. Listen, Florida's been terrible, as you've seen here. But Florida, Miami, you know it's an in-state rival. You don't have a great schedule this week. South Carolina, Missouri. Remember, South Carolina lost to Vandy. They got spanked, 31-7 at home. So, yeah, not a great college football day by any means. Auburn, Oklahoma. There's a few games, but it's not a great schedule. But who knows? You have crazy upsets. I know I didn't talk about Clemson. And you know what? Let me get to that right away let me get to the next one. Here it is. You ready, guys? As I see comments there. I owe you guys a big-time apology for 3 reasons. Number one, when I talked about college football on the podcast Monday, I didn't mention Clemson, as Clemson lost there, and they're now 1-2. And I don't think Clemson's going to be a part of this picture. They play in a terrible conference. They could lose another game, as I think they will down the stretch. And me not mentioning that in the college football segment was an awful job. Number two, again, and this was even worse. And I jumped the gun on this because when I saw, usually when there are games that I haven't watched, I'll look at the highlights first, then I'll go to the box score, and I could formulate my own opinion by what I've seen. Because I can't watch every game, people. I mean, it's a thing where, and I know Notre Dame was on TV, Texas A&M, et cetera, but I didn't watch. So when the Fighting Irish went up 40-34 in the game the other night, and I saw that they missed, that it had a 2-point conversion failed, I said, why in the hell they went for two? So when I read the box score and started reading the story, I didn't do my homework. I didn't go back to check the highlight, which what happened was that the extra point was muffed, the snap and the hold. So therefore, they had to scramble around to try to get a 2-point conversion because, of course, once the snap is botched, there's no way you could attempt to kick an extra point. So therefore, they went for two. They got thwarted. And obviously, when I saw that, it was almost like a fall on fire that went off in my head. And I said to myself, how could you go for two there with 2 minutes to go where Texas A&M went down, punched it in the end zone, kicked the extra point, and went home with a victory? So that was not a terrible job. That was an abominable job, an abomination by yours truly. So I need to do better, and I will do better. And usually, like I said, if any of these big games, I'm going to go through the highlights first, then go to the box score to see if there's anything else so I can make a correlation. And instead, I went box score first, saw that, and I just forgot to go to the highlight. So that is a terrible job by me, something I own up to, and I haven't been called out for it as of yet. But if I do, here's the receipt. So hand raised high in the air. And I talk about being authentic and being transparent, etc. So I'm not going to sit here to say like, oh, yeah, I watched that game from start to finish. I did not. And obviously I got burned by not fully doing my homework because, yeah, I am doing this to entertain and to inform everybody. And if I'm going to misinform you, that is not, again, not doing my job. And the last thing I'd want you guys and girls to do would be to go elsewhere to be like, oh, wait, Jay Rose doesn't know what he's talking about. Or if they would have called me out on it, I would have owned up to it without question. But thankfully, I caught that before anybody has reached out, whether on YouTube or any of the comments, where I'm able to not only own up to it, but at least explain myself. So just in case, if somebody wants to open up a can of whoop ass on yours truly, I could say, oh, no, time out. Your comments on that have been after what I said, so here it is. So, yes, my apologies, hand raised high in the air, way high, to make sure that I don't do that again. And then the third thing that I failed to mention, and was talking about Justin Fields, who's going to be out. And Justin Fields did not play the latter part of the game on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills because he was in concussion protocol, and I believe that's the reason why he's not playing this week. And seeing Tyrod Taylor in the lineup and say, uh-oh, did he play badly? What happened? And I was in and out of the Jet game because I was wrapped up in the Steeler game, and I didn't have the 4-box because I concentrate on my game. And even though the Steeler game got out of hand there late, and that Jet game was over in the first half anyway, so I wasn't really paying attention. So again, bad job on my part, although I didn't say that Justin Fields got knocked out of the game with a concussion, although he was awful in the game if you look at his numbers, but he wasn't pulled because they put in Tyrod Taylor as a quarterback controversy could have been brewing. I just said, oh, wow, Tyrod Taylor got some burn in the game. All right, fine. But I didn't go in the weeds the way I did with Marcus Freeman saying, how could you go for two there where you just go for the extra point? No, but I still owe an apology because, yeah, I still should have at least had a better grasp that Fields was knocked out of the game due to injury and not pulled And although I didn't say that he was pulled because of bad play, but I should have been a little bit more up on it to know that, oh no, he got knocked out of the game. That's why you saw Tyrod Taylor in. And who knows what the status is for Fields for this Sunday's game. As it is now, it is official. Fields is out Sunday. Tyrod Taylor likely is going to start. So that's my mea culpa, because you know me, guys. And if it's your first time on this block, here it is, cut and dry. I'm not about clickbait, rage bait, none of that. I'm about talking, analyzing, and presenting what's going on in sports to you in the most authentic, transparent, organic, and truest fashion possible, especially in a day and age where it's all about clickbait. It's all about regurgitated narratives that you see constantly. That's why I didn't make any mention. Yeah, I did mention about tush push, but I didn't even dissect that, because I know that one of the offensive linemen of the Eagles came out and lashed at the people, the critics, towards the tush push. I'm not going to entertain it. No. I'm not. No, why? But there's a lot of people out there that'll do that, and I don't. I want to keep it as fresh. I want to keep it. Now, listen, if it was a thing where they banned it today, or if the NFL came out and says we're not going to ban it, which they've said in the past, but unless there was an announcement made either way, then I could bring it up. But if a player just mentioned it to say, you guys got to get off our lawn or whatever, that's old news. Why am I even entertaining that type of story or content? No, I'm not doing it. So, yes, one more time, people, it is my duty to deliver the analysis, opinions, etc., the right way, and not the lazy or the quick, fast, in a hurry / clickbaity. Ooh, let me reel you in with this, but no, I'm going to hit you over the head with that. You know that's never going to be the case as long as I'm sitting in front of this camera microphone. So I just want to rest assure you guys and gals, and again, send out one more apology. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, Miles with the K9. Miles. Oh, all right. I guess the K9 is coming. How about Cal Raleigh there, Brent? Yes. Hold on. No, I don't want to hide the comment. Why is my mouse? Here we go. Let me just do this slow, one at a time. Here we go. Yes. Great for him. Great for the Mariners and great for baseball. All the way around. Because it wasn't as if a Yankee did it, a Philly, a Met, a Dodger, a Cub, any of the big market teams. And although Seattle has a big payroll and they do have players on their team, but when people think of the Mariners, I'm sure there's a lot of people that still think of Ken Griffey Jr. or Alex Rodriguez or Randy Johnson. They're not thinking about the current team. So for Raleigh, who certainly has put his fingerprints all over this regular season and certainly on a track to, I would have to think, he has to be the front runner for the MVP this year in the American League. And I know Judge is going to get a ton of votes. And as I said earlier, I don't think Judge is deserving, but because he suffered that injury to his elbow, when was that? That was in late July. And although he has hit some home runs and has been productive, but he certainly has not been on that prodigious pace of him hitting all those home runs and driving in runs, etc. He has hit home runs, but he's cooled off considerably since he's come back from the IL. So I would think Raleigh is your front runner, but I still wouldn't be surprised if Judge wins just based on his track record. And it shouldn't be a thing about what he's done in the past. It should be about this year, but he could be influenced by the younger voter where it's like, oh no, I see Judge more than I see Raleigh, despite the fact that Raleigh has more home runs and et cetera, and he plays a very demanding position. We could break down all that, but I would have to say that it's been a tremendous year for Raleigh, and it certainly is great for baseball too to get that recognition there in the Pacific Northwest. And James says, go blue. I know he's a huge Giant fan, so give it up. James D or G-Men. Oh, yeah, the game on Sunday. I know that was a crusher if you're a Giant fan. So, Miles, dude, I do not twitch. And I know he's not meaning that in the literal sense. He's talking about the platform. No, Twitch I do not. Although I have really thought about it and contemplated it long and hard. Maybe I should Twitch. I know it's another outlet. I know to get people on that, but I get it. I could probably gain a lot of followers, subscribers, whatever. And listen, I've flirted with the idea. It's quite possible. I'd love to hear your feedback on whether or not I should do it. So please, Miles, let me know. And James, thanks, Brent. Who would have thought? Oh, I know. And that's the thing. You get one play to midfield, and it's almost a chip shot. It's unbelievable how these kickers can kick from this distance and beyond, and more controlled environments. Because although it's early in the NFL season, but the weather everywhere has been nice. It's not as if you had a ton of rain or snow or ice or anything like that. But yeah, it definitely is unbelievable to think that these 54, 55, 60-yard field goals are literally like 40-yard field goals for these people. So I'd have to agree. Miles, you wish you were old to go to a strip club? And it's not all that cracked up to be. Put it this way. After 15 minutes, you're going to be broke. And depending on certain places, maybe even 10 minutes. So just think about that. But experience it. That's what life's all about. So, and you're still young. You're going to be 14 next month. So you still have 7 years before you can even consume alcohol or whatever. Not that I'd want you to. You're 13. One step at a time. Before you know it, it'll be here. And who knows, you may be I was going to say strip club entrepreneur, but I just felt that I was a lot to spew out all at once. So, Brent, Val B, it's unfortunate that time is now. Big time factor. Yeah, there is still a chance. It's not over. They're not mathematically eliminated, but today's game is gigantic for the Giants in order for them to stay alive. Val, sending thanks to Brent. Mr. Beaumont, good to see you back. In your opinion, can Bryce Underwood grow into the... I think he can. Yeah, no, I think he can. I think he has the ability. I think he's a little raw, but with some fine tuning, we know he can run. I mean, the guy's just he's an excellent athlete. So how I look at it is, and he's a freshman too, so if he stays there a couple more years, you would think Penn State will continue to be that powerhouse that they are. But yeah, I listen. Underwood certainly has a very high ceiling. I could see him having a big-time career. And yeah, as we all know, it starts right here. He makes his legacy here in college before he moves on to greener pastures, that being the NFL. Brent, you're right, James D. The kickers today, yeah, they are. And these guys are kicker. Yeah. Just looking at this here. All right. So, yeah, I would think that these kickers, there's going to be a day where, as you saw in the preseason, there was that one kicker on the Titans. I don't even know if he made the team, who kicked from 70. That's going to happen. So, my man, Mr. Beaumont, welcome back. One more time. You think they mess with the football like they do in baseball? You think they mess with the football? Well, like the Deflategate? This would be Inflategate, because I think if you have it inflated, and remember, the kicking ball is different from the throwing ball that they use. So I don't know. Is there something in there? Is there a I don't know, a Super Bowl? Those little that you bounce and they go a million feet high? Yeah, I don't know. And that'd be fascinating. You know what? John, you may have given me an idea to do an investigation, which could lead to a big-time video. Kicking. Yeah, because I am now piqued interest to find out why the kicking ball is different from the throwing ball, and is there anything that's in the ball? Now, I understand elements, wind, rain. Listen, the ball's going to fly wherever it wants, but if you're in a controlled environment, nice weather day, inside a dome, conditions are perfect, and snap, place, hold. I mean, these kickers, yeah, it's a joke how they're making these field goals. But let's see what else we have here. Hold on. So, yeah, Bryce Underwood. Yeah, we talked about that. All right, lane kickers. Hold on. Am I going backwards? What's going on here? From the logo? I am going backwards. Oh, you messed with the baseball. There we go. So, yeah, I don't know if they're going to mess with the football. Would I be shocked? I guess I can't, but I want to know what's in that football now. Kicking it old school. What are you playing? A little Eric B. and Rakim? Maybe they're Miles. Seeing Cal Raleigh break Mantle's record is awesome. No, it is. Not only to go to 55 home runs as a switch hitter, but he's a catcher. The demands of a catcher. I mean, jeez. It doesn't get any better than that. Movie was a gooner. Did you mean goner there, Miles? James. Should have said the blue for Michigan. Yeah, Michigan is 2 years removed from a championship, but yeah. The blue and maize. Young Miles. Yes, he is, Rajana. Tell him. Right on bio for Brent. Miles, a little confused there. What? Yes. Brent with well wishes. All right, like when they want to move. Oh, when they want to have more home runs, they change the ball, make it a pitcher's game. Is info. You know what? That's a very good question, John. And I'm going to look into that because I'm curious and wonder whether or not that the footballs are either inflated a little bit too much or these kickers' legs. I mean, I don't know. It's not as if these guys' legs are tree trunks, but they're certainly powerful enough to kick from long distances. I mean, yeah, but I need to look into that a little further. Who knows? That may be the next Pablo Torre. Or maybe he's working on that right now, for all I know. I thought they put a little healing. That's quite possible. I don't know that, and I'm gonna have to research that. And I already typed it in, so maybe after the live stream, I'll start looking into it. And who knows, for the live stream tomorrow, or better yet, for next week, we'll touch on that. And who knows, maybe we'll have more people jump on board just to chime in on that. John, we hear pitchers complain all the time about the ball. Yeah, I know. Whether that means in the mile-high air of Coors Field or even now with this scenario, I mean, it's possible. But, yeah, pitchers can complain about it, just like the quarterback could complain about the balls being too solid. I mean, as I'm sure you probably heard in the past, John laughing. All right. John and Brent, great man. Is that you? Thank you for having. It means a lot to know. Yes. Way to go, Marjana. And yes, way to go there. Brent, too. Kudos to you. Well, Brent, are you enjoying? Come on, Miles. Did you have to go there? Best switch hitter for power ever saw was Eddie Murray. That's a good one, Bio. The first one that comes to mind is Chipper Jones. Because even though he had 500 home runs, Murray, he may have only hit 40 once. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'd have to go back and check that out. But no, that's a good one. Eddie Murray for sure. Absolutely. He was definitely a great, not only that, 500 home runs and 3,000 hits. Doesn't get any better than that. Me, Marjana, yes, indeed. There, Miles. Y'all seen Norbit? Norbit. Isn't that the Eddie Murphy movie? All right, Marjana, Brent, dear Brent. I heard you asked about, yes. That's awesome. Can I put like a thumbs or a like to that? Like they do on Instagram with a heart? I guess I can't. Brent, good point, Bio. Saw Mr. Murray play in Toronto and Detroit with Cal Ripken. Yeah, that was, oof, now you're going back mid to late 80s. Yeah, because Murray, let me think, because he ended up with the Mets in 92. Then he went to Cleveland, but he was part of those teams there in the early to mid 90s. No, mid to late 90s. And then you had, of course, all the steroids that became a big giant mess. Miles, yeah, it is. Missed the boat on that. 80s. Yes, Brent. Was the 80s. And then what is this? Quick W and the injuries get the move in Chicago. I think they've said that they weren't going to fine her or discipline her. I mean, she's arguably the best player, if not their best player. And yeah, I mean, they can't cut bait with her now. I'm sure they're going to have to sit her down and say, hey, we can't have any of this rabble rousing or any of the things that have certainly taken away from what's happened on the court. And although the Sky are awful, but yeah, no, I think she stays. And if she gets traded, what? They're going to one of the bigger teams, the Aces or the Lynx or the Liberty, they're going to trade for her? No, trade for him? I said her because I'm looking at Miles. I'm already looking at these comments ahead of time. My apologies, James. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to trade her away or even cut her for that matter. So yeah, I think she does. All right. Brent, I think she does. Why? You think she gets the boot, huh, Brent? I don't know. No, Miles, I'm 71. Hey, Miles, did you ask how old Marjana was? You're not supposed to ask a woman that. Trying to have some etiquette here. I know it's all in good fun. I know Marjana's a great sport, but still. All right. Bio. I'm a Dodgers fan, but I played shortstop because of is that right? Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning on that live stream I did a few weeks ago how I know Ripken was one of your guys, but check that out. Yeah, because back in that time, Bio, your shortstop, 80s. Yeah, that was post Bill Russell. Oh, man, I got to think. Wait, Steve Sachs was at second. Alfredo Griffin, who I know was in the 80s, in 88. He may have gotten there 87. He was a former Blue Jay. Brent should know that. Alfredo Griffin, former Blue Jay shortstop. Actually a Yankee farmhand back in the 70s. Late 70s, early 80s. I have to think about that. Other shortstops, Dodgers. Even in the 90s. I know it's going to kill me when I figure it out. Geez, I got to think about that. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on Dodger baseball right now. But Cal was your guy. That's pretty cool. I like that. Hold on. All right, Miles. Brent. Oh, come on. We're going back to that again there. Marjana. Yes. There you go. Clarified right there. Where did I learn the word yat? Oh, yeah. That's been on records and all that. Listen, all you got to do is listen to music or pop culture, and that's Marjana, he's just having fun. The best way to explain Miles is that he's coming here just to be silly. So, and he's harmless, at least for now. Hopefully one day he doesn't flip. I know he wants to stick canines on me, but yeah, look, as he writes everything. Yes, but he knows he has, even bio. He has absolutely a lot to learn. And Brent, just wonderful looking back at the GOATS bio. Yes, Cal. Oh, without question. The Iron Man himself. Yes, Alfredo Griffin. Yep, I remember that. The pitch. Jose Offerman. Yes, that's another. Right, absolutely. Offerman was your guy there in the mid-90s. Actually, also played for the Mets, too. Also played for the Giants. San Francisco, that is. Yeah, and I think Offerman, that was 93-ish. So, excellent. Yeah, I was drawing blanks on the shortstop there. So, that's what I have there, people. And there's my Mea Culpa. Other than that, that's what I got for you guys and gals today. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say, anything you want to chime in on before I get ready to bid adieu. I know it's 124 in the East. What to watch for this weekend? Seattle, Houston, that's a big series. You have, let me see what the big series are. Baseball forthcoming. Starting on Friday. Yeah, the NFL schedule in college, you already know what that's like. It's snooze fest. Other series of note. Wow. Yeah, Seattle and Houston is the series. To a lesser degree, Giants, Dodgers, Philly, Arizona, because Arizona's trying to hang in for their wild card lives. Chicago Cubs at Cincinnati. Atlanta, Detroit. Yeah, no, these games. Yeah, you only have a handful of good series this weekend. So, come Monday, I will be on top, or really come Thursday, tomorrow's podcast. But I'm thinking, obviously, it's the weekend. So come Monday when we recap it and we get to the final week of the baseball season. Right now, you have Cubs up on Pirates 4-3 and no score as the games just got underway. They have a run on third, 2 out. Cincinnati, top of the first, playing the Cardinals out at Busch Stadium. So that'll do it, my good people. Let me see these comments. Okay. Oh, wait, hold on. That was the last comment you said. I'll get to that, Marjana. Are we talking about a love story movie? Yeah, I know. No, we're not talking about a love story movie there. Miles, you know better. Tony Fernandez, Ozzie Smith. Yes. Shortstops of the 80s. That's for sure. And yes, here we go. Okay, but that hurt Miles. That's right. Yeah. You're young, want to be funny. That's okay, but don't cross the line. See that, Miles? And listen, Miles, I know you're harmless. I know you're good fun. Obviously, Marjana's her first time in a room in a while. I don't know if you were in a room at that time. You may have gone by the name Felicia then. But, yeah. And I know you're trying to be funny and silly and, But no. There's a time and place for that. Let's see. What else do we got? Yeah, Tony Fernandez, Ozzie Smith. All right, so I think I'm caught up on the comments. I believe. Let's see. I know, love story movie. What is this? The Way We Were? Robert Redford, rest in peace. The Natural, Roy Hobbs. Yesterday. And that's all right. So I got all caught up with the comments. So now I guess I could post this up. Great turnout today, first and foremost. And I know I thank you guys and gals all the time. Even my father-in-law came into the mix, which I really appreciate. And one more time, you see it right there on the crawl. Wednesdays, 12 noon. Share with your family, friends, foes, frenemies here on YouTube. You know the channel at JReels. I appreciate each and every one of you. And yes, please leave any last thoughts in the chat room. You know I'm going to get to them before I say goodbye. But this is our weekly hangout. And I've been doing this now consistently since the early part of March, although I started in February. And the little engine that could just keeps on chugging. Now I'm at double digits back, 10. So hopefully we could move this train along. Again, the little engine that could get to 10, 15, 20, 25, 50, 75, 100. Bring them all on because I'm ready for you. So one more time, people, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And again, I'll get to those last thoughts in the chat room. You know the deal. As I've said a zillion times over, do I even need to reiterate that? I think not. Latest edition of the podcast coming tomorrow around 12:30 Eastern time. Podcast pregame. As I saw the graphic, I had the graphic there up at the very top. Podcast pregame live tomorrow on YouTube, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Monday, because I have my podcast Monday and Thursday. You'll get a preview of what to expect. Not going to be a lot. Whatever happens in baseball tonight, if things get a little bit more interesting there with the pennant races, I'll go over the NFL schedule, a couple other things that are happening, a lot of injuries in the NFL that have taken place, but I'll touch on that tomorrow. College football. I'll also get into whatever else is going on. As a matter of fact, that's next week, right? The Ryder Cup. Yeah. Golf. Yeah, I won't get into that until then. But a lot of the stuff that's going to take place, that's going to transpire, happen. You know, I got you covered with nothing but passion, fire, energy, fury, etc. Because as you well know, well, let me get to the comments first before I sign off. Okay, you're a good guy, Miles. See? Miles, there you go. It's all love here in the room. And speaking of which, Brent, take care, people. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Enjoy the games. Be nice to each other out there. Absolutely. Brent, thank you as always from north of the border. And, you see, it's all love here. Marjana, you're the best. You really are. Thank you. But with that being said, people, one last thanks. And obviously, if you made it this far, especially on the replay. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. Whatever questions, comments, suggestions you may have, please leave that in the room here. But one more time, people, before I sign off, as long as I'm alive and breathing, as long as I have this microphone and camera in front of me, I'm going to continue to do what I do. Try to make a living, try to earn a living doing this, because it's in every fiber of my being. Talking sports, sharing my thoughts, opinions, critiques, praise, analysis, feelings on anything and everything that happens on a diamond, ice, gridiron, hardwood, golf course, racetrack, tennis court, boxing ring, octagon, you name it. And that is coming from my lips to your ears, from my heart to your soul, from where I am to wherever you are. The J Reels live stream always comes live, correct, directed, and full effect, as you well know. And yeah, it is a pleasure. It is an honor to do this. And it's even more so to know that the response, obviously the amount of people that have been here today, even if it was just one or two people, I do this because, as I like to say, it's in my blood, it's in my DNA. Talking sports is birth, delivering that passion, fire, energy, fury that I feel the sports landscape and the sports media landscape needs, because the clickbait and just the yelling and screaming for the hell of it, that's not cutting it. True sports talk right here, people. Please share the word. So before I sign off, yes, Marjana, ciao to you and yours. Hopefully I'll see you, if not next Wednesday, maybe tomorrow, because I'll be on a little bit earlier, 9:30, roughly 9:30-ish. I'll jump on board. But if not, I know we'll correspond in the comments or whatever. Please feel free. Whenever I have the second to write back, as I've done throughout all this time, I do respond to those who post and leave a comment. So from the South Bronx, the South Beach, the South Central, the South Pacific, and all points beyond, even the other side of the pond in Serbia. Peace, love, and God bless everybody. And until next time on the J Reels live stream, podcast tomorrow, and all that good stuff, peace and love on the flip, baby. Oh, enjoy the rest of your week, your day, etc. Be safe, be kind, and be well.